Liverpool keeping an eye on Mason Mount contract talks. Jorginho possibly extending or going, and Chelsea leading the race for Yusufa Moukoko. Yusuf. I thought it was Yusuf, but there's an A in there. But welcome, guys, to the Casually FC channel. Welcome to the Casually Chelsea show. I'm accompanied by my great panels here, Real Chris, Harry, and Ahmed. Make sure you guys are checking out Harry's channel below in the description down there. And make sure you're liking and subscribing and hitting the bell notifications, commenting, checking out the links in the description. And let's get right into this. So, ladies and gents, we had a game yesterday. It was between Brentford and Chelsea. It ended up being 5-1. It was 3 45-minute halves, pretty much. No, it's true.
No, there's no way he scored a hat-trick.
There's 45 minutes for each half, yeah.
For each half. So, wait, what are you saying, Chris? Are you saying that Kai Havertz didn't score in 145?
Well, it's funny how no one saw it but Kai Havertz scoring a hat-trick for Chelsea.
Oh, my God.
It's funny no one's seen it.
I mean, he's done it before against Barnsley.
Oh, my God.
If you remember that. But,
yes, I remember that one. That didn't count.
Listen. It's a friendly. I'm not gonna I'm taking it with a pinch of salt. It's nice that we won. I mean, it has been a while since we can say Chelsea won something. So it's been since November, if you guys recall. It's actually hasn't even. Yeah, we won a Champions League game. I'm pretty sure in November, and then it's been kind of downhill since then. So it's nice to actually win. But hey, 45 minutes half. Havertz ended up scoring a hat trick. Good for him. All the players pretty much got to play. Not much to comment. It was behind closed doors, but there are injuries that happened as a result. So let's go ahead and discuss that.
Shock, yeah.
So Wesley Fofana may have picked up an injury and will be updated if true. That was what was heard after said game. Then another update that was given, Wesley Fofana responding, saying that everything is good. I'll be back in less than a month. I think this was an Instagram response, I believe, when he was asked in the comments. I guess he responded. And then an update here from Fabrizio Romano, basically reporting that Wesley Fofana is expected to return in 3 or 4 weeks after new injury. In the last friendly game. It's not a serious injury, which is good. I heard it was like a little niggle in the knee or something like that. So it's good that he didn't I guess react to it. You know what? A lot of people were getting upset that we kind of fired the last senior medical advisor, the physio, and you know what? I'm not really that upset about it because for the last 3-4 years, we've been having a lot of injury issues. I mean, just last season under Tuchel, we went through that whole phase where parts of our midfield, forward, defense just started getting attacked in waves or injured.
It's more now than ever, though. No, do you not think? Injuries constantly.
I feel might be the same.
Every
roughly.
friendly, we have Broja against Villa, and now we've got Fofana against
and it's always the knee.
Last season
we had
friendlies.
It's always unnecessary games.
Last season we had obviously Chilwell injured all season pretty much, right? Reece James kept coming in and out. Kovacic kept coming in and out. Even Jorginho picked up a little injury last season as well because he was struggling.
Conte,
Ruben, Conte. Obviously Conte's a given now.
Chalobah also. They get injured.
I think even Mason Mount got a little. I think Mason Mount even had a little injury at one point. Just a little one.
Maybe. I know Havertz went through an injury. Lukaku as well. Allegedly.
Lukaku
as well. Allegedly.
Yeah, if he's not starting, he's injured.
Yeah, it's been an issue. So I mean, I guess maybe I'm hoping and I'm assuming that maybe Boley saw this. That's why he wanted to start over with a new physio. And then we go from there because hopefully this is something that gets resolved because it is, like you guys are saying, an ongoing thing. On top of Wesley Fofana being injured, we also have news that Mason Mount has an injury. I'm not gonna, allegedly he has an injury, sure. But yeah, apparently it's a slight calf strain. I don't think he's gonna be out for that long. He might miss 1 game or 2 in the
He
Prem.
probably even missed the game.
He might not even miss the game. He'll play on crutches, knowing knowing Graham Potter. He has to play to be in good form. So we'll see. And then an update also on Armando Broja's injury right here. He's expected to be out for the season. He got an ACL injury. He's going to have the season-ending surgery for that. It is really unfortunate.
See the picture of him in the hospital? He looked waved. He looked at.
I did not see the picture of him in the hospital. No,
gone out.
Damn. I feel sorry for him, man.
You might be able to find it. He was high on something. Obviously, to
medical
help the pain,
stuff. Medical
Jesus
stuff. Yeah.
He looked
Probably
gone.
some chloroform.
yeah, it was rough. It was rough hearing that. Yeah, but it sucks because this was his season to really, like, I guess, I'm not gonna say break through to the first team or break through, but he was gonna get playtime. The Chelsea fans are actually gonna be able to watch him because I'm sure there's plenty of Chelsea fans, including myself, that don't have the opportunity to really watch anything outside of Chelsea or watch other players on other teams. So it was a nice way for us to see him and see how he plays with the team, how he meshes, what the manager has in store for him, and how he develops. But this is going to set him back. We don't know how he's going to come back when he returns to playing again, too, as well. So we'll see. Hopefully,
And
fingers
he's been
crossed.
replaced Marshall, hasn't he, in a way, by that youngster?
I wouldn't call it a replacement.
But no, but it's like it could be replaced because he's came in because of Broja. I'm pretty sure, like we've got him in.
No, I don't think he came
You
in
don't
because of
reckon?
Broja. I just
No,
think the
because
timing of it all. Yeah.
The link, because like the link to, for example, Yusuf, for example, he was like before this happened. So they were
I
obviously
didn't see
already
it like before it happened.
No,
Okay.
that there was a link before that happened. So
I'll
they
take
were
your word.
already sort of targeting him before Broja. So the other one whose name I forget from Mold came out of nowhere. That one came out of nowhere. But the Yusuf one had been reported.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But yeah, unfortunately for Broja, it's going to be a knee injury, an ACL surgery. It's going to end the season, and hopefully he recovers well. He comes back and he still has that pace that we were falling in love with. Let's move on to the next story, and this is one that we haven't had a chance to talk about because we've been talking about World Cup this whole entire month, pretty much, and the previous one. So let's go ahead and finally touch on this, boys. It's finally done. NKUNKU is finally a here we go. Everything is just allegedly now. Everything's
I can't trust anything these days.
Can't trust anything. Can't trust these brown envelopes. Anyways, NKUNKU deal signed and sealed. Here we go. Confirmed. All documents and contracts also signed. It's 100% closed. French striker can be considered a new Chelsea player starting July 2023. All signed, sealed with RB Leipzig and players signed. So we're not going to see him until the summer, which is okay. He's injured right now, anyways. He's nursing the injury he received during World Cup training. But hey, man, I'm fine. I'm happy that Chelsea are doing business ahead of the window. We'll touch upon the Vivel situation on Sunday, but he's finally confirmed he's going to have to do some work in January. But this is great. Finally, NKUNKU's done. I'm excited to see what he's going to do for the team come next season. And he's a good signing. I think you guys would agree too. He's probably a solid signing for the team.
Where do you see him playing?
In attack.
Who does he
where do I
start-
see him playing?
Who does
start.
Who does he start over? Like, he's obviously
Easily,
going to
Kai
take.
Havertz.
He has to take the position of someone else. So who do you see him?
Kai
all
Havertz,
of
Mason
you. Who's he taking the position of?
Minerals, no, I'm not shaking.
Both of them.
I'm just kidding. I think more than likely it's probably gonna be one of Havertz or like maybe like a one of our wingers. To be honest, it might be something of the case where
Hope
one
it's
of
not
them
Sterling.
is leaving.
Do you think him being signed is, and being that he's not coming until July or until next season, do you think this is like a wake up call for Havertz and I mean, you could argue
It should be,
Aubameyang,
shouldn't
How
it?
many?
Havertz in
How many
general.
has he already had so far? Like Lukaku, for example.
But this he legitimately has, like, you have this X amount of time to get your shit together. Otherwise, he's gonna take your role regardless. Like, he's gonna come in and he's gonna be in your position.
There's like a 99% chance of them taking someone's role. Yeah, like it's they have to. I don't know. Like if they
other
start
thing is,
scoring, assisting, then we got a player that just basically like a fire like a.
The other
under
thing we need to remember is that the club is flirting heavily as well with like Leao. Apparently, we're putting in bids for him as well. So the attackers will more than already be on high alert, and it's either put up or shut up. So You
Yeah.
either have to do something or you're gone.
Do you think this could spur Havertz to seek a move?
Oh, just some breaking. Oh, Andre Santos has been confirmed by. Sorry, Fabrizio.
You're fine. I think it could potentially very much force Havertz to leave the club, and in which case, look, if he it's tough because.
Would really anyone be sad apart from Johnny?
Personally, me, yeah, I'd be a little upset that it never worked out at Chelsea, but I'm not gonna moan and groan about it. It's deserved. Yeah, it'd be a Werner situation. Yeah,
I hope you did better, and I really liked you. Mm-hmm. The same for Werner, the same for Havertz, but.
You know what sucks though, Harry, is that
then all I can say is Werner's doing good now. I can only expect the same for Havertz once he leaves Chelsea, which I can't see him being long term at Chelsea. I really can't.
What sucks now though, Harry, is that now compared to what we have now, I actually miss Werner. I wish we still had Werner because actually Werner's had some type of output. He had assists. He had something. He didn't have the goals, which
he had the dog.
It happens.
He had the dog.
Who said all this? Who said all this?
Well, Chris, you did, but
he gets goals.
Listen,
it's
one of those things. It's one of those things you don't know what you got till it's gone, and you don't know how bad it is until Werner leaves, and then Tuchel gets sacked, and it's all downhill from
At the end of the day, man, Werner was not good enough, guys.
No, he wasn't. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's world class or even elite, but he was still he brings something to Chelsea at least. He may miss a lot of chances, yes, he does that, but that's his movement. It creates a lot of space for even other attackers as well. So I died on this hill for you people, so
For you people? Wait, what?
Yo.
It was just a typical. He leaves and scores a 70-yard shot, and it is It's so typical, and it's so Chelsea.
Oh my god, Chris sounds like he sacrificed himself for Chelsea's better good. Listen, it's Chris. If you sacrifice yourself for Chelsea's good, then you're not doing a good job, man. Your sacrifices are made.
I did sacrifice myself for it, man. I got hounded. I got called a clown for it. I got called everything for it. So even mocked. Even Fatou, man. Fatou got mocked for it.
Oh my days! But no, look. Back to what Harry said, though. I think if when NKUNKU gets here, he's probably going to be replacing. It's probably going to be a rotation of in the team. I'm sure we're going to see Havertz play a lot less if Havertz were to stay here next season. We're probably and remain in the form that he's in, right? It could also force him to move. I also think Sterling as well. His position isn't necessarily guaranteed either. He's been going through a little bit of a weird form as well, so it's very possible that he could even bench Sterling depending on how well he performs.
Salary though.
Yeah, it does play a factor, but there's also, schedule, rotation, and what Ahmed said as well, Leao. We don't know what's going to happen with Leao, if he's going to come here or not. And if Leao does happen, it's probably going to be something we do over the summer. So we'll see what happens with this. But look, I'm glad that we're getting business done. We're getting some players. Hopefully there's more signings like this for maybe a Vardio, a midfielder. We'll see, but good signs so far. January transfer window's not even open yet, and we're already making deals happen. The next topic that I wanted to discuss with you boys was right here. We were just talking about David Datro Fofana. All right. So admittedly, I don't know much about this guy. I watched a little bit of some of his clips, but let me just read Fabrizio's tweet right here. Chelsea are on the verge of signing David Datro Fofana. Here we go soon. There's full agreement in place with Molde to sign Ivorian striker born in 2002. So that would make him 20, right? Yeah, 20 years old. Personal terms are still being discussed with player. The deal will be signed for more than 10 million euros fee. Now, here's a good thing about this, in my opinion. We're signing him on the cheap. It's not, if he works out, great, we got a deal. If he doesn't, we didn't really lose much on him. We can always sell him off. I like this idea that we're doing. We should be scouting for the team, obviously, and getting some first team players, but we also shouldn't neglect the more cheaper players that people don't really know about. Based on what I've seen of short clips here and there, his highlights and all that, he seems to be of that like Broja profile. So has a lot of pace to him and all that. Can beat a man. What do you guys think? I don't know if you guys have done any little, highlight reels watching of this man, but hey, look. Maybe the Drogba region, the Ivory Coast blood. Who knows? Who knows?
The one thing I saw someone do like a full-on breakdown of what his style of play is, because, like you said at the beginning, like no one should act like they know who the hell he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, or that they've been scouting him or watching him for ages or anything like that. No one's heard of him until it was brought up. But the two things I took from the video I saw, where it was breaking down like his style of play, was he's not greedy, but he's a kind of player that likes to hold the ball and he doesn't opt to pass. He opts to take on the man himself, which I feel like as a number 9 or as an attacking player in general is something that we don't really have too much of.
Yeah,
we're always looking to pass sideways all the time, or back, or if you like reach like a dead end, you're passing back all the time. From what the person said that I can't remember what their name was, but it was a good breakdown. They were saying like he will very much prefer to go head on into that brick wall rather than think shit and then turn around like a lot of our players do. And then obviously that there is like he's an Ivory Coast player. He's got that instant resemblance to Drogba, which everyone's hoping and praying that he's going to be a Drogba regen. I just hate the instant pressure that we put on players straight away, because if you compare him to like the best of all time.
A man can
wait,
dream,
he's from
okay?
Drogba's country then? That's what it's saying.
Ivory Coast, yes. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's maybe similar between him and Drogba.
But it's the instant, like for me being like Drogba for me is the greatest of all time at Chelsea. I mean, do you know? But I hate the instant like pressure that he's got on him, and obviously being from his country, to him, if he hears that, he's like, "Fuck, that's a lot of pressure." Because I'm only imagining that's obviously one of his idols, if not his biggest.
Yeah,
idol.
Probably.
Being
it's very
from
likely.
The Ivory Coast, there's that video that everyone's seen where it's like, "I want to play for Chelsea one day because of Drogba and all this." Like, there's a lot of pressure on him instantly, but from what I've seen. I've got no expectations, but from what I've heard of what his style of play is, he sounds like he has good potential, but I haven't got, much like any other player we sign, I haven't got my hopes up high.
For the fee that we're playing too, I feel like that's another thing with these players, like the Havertz and the Timos and any other expensive player. Fofana also being another one that's under fire right now. It's that fee that puts so much pressure on them as well. I think even though people are saying, "Oh, Drogba region" and all that stuff, I think the fact that he's coming in for 10 million euros is such a bargain. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we didn't really lose much out on it. And if it does work out, then holy crap, we got a really good deal on this guy. And then maybe he stays at the club, or maybe he gets sold to another club, and the club ends up making a good amount of profit off of his transfer, which I think it's a win-win. We'll see. I mean, I know some people are going to be a little upset that we're not like focusing on the first team and all that. He's not going to come in to be in the first team either. I think he's probably going to be loaned out, if anything. We never know. I mean, now that the situation is what it is with Broja, you never know either. Yeah, true.
With the low fee as well, it kind of adds to that Drogba sort of. I know, like back then, it was considered like a high fee, and everyone was like, "Who the fuck is Drogba?" And and Mourinho was like, "No, trust me, like he's good." There isn't really much of that. There isn't any of that in this situation. But I think given with Fofana's situation, you could try and like compare to Drogba, is that like the fee in this day and age is so low, especially with us as a team that seem to get shafted for high fees just because we're Chelsea.
True.
I feel like he could play on that. I'm only a £10 million player, but look how good I am, or like I'm much better than my worth that I was bought for. I feel like he could play on that personally.
Another thing is, I believe this player has been scouted by Brighton for a bit now, and because we have the Brighton team with us, the scouting is now they still want the player. Obviously, Potter still wants the player. It's not like he doesn't. So that might be an added bonus as well. Like we've seen the type of talent that's come out of Brighton as a result of the scouting team with Caicedo, with Trossard, who else? Bissouma, who ended up going to Spurs. You name it. Sanchez as well, the goalkeeper, being really talented.
Bonus, you could probably say.
Gross as well, yeah. Gross has a lot of potential as well. So there's all these, they built a good team. Cucurella, they built a really good team from these, these scouts finding these low fee players. Hey, I'm not going to be upset if at the end of the day it works out, and if it doesn't work out, like I said, I don't think the club's really losing much out on this. So let's move on to the next topic that I want to discuss with you guys, which is the situation with Leao and Ziyech. So quick little update on this. PYS reporting here with Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea will be there next summer for Leao if he doesn't extend his contract. Chelsea are keeping contacts with people close to the player. On Ziyech, AC Milan now want different type of player. So for the people who wanted Ziyech to leave, it's looking a little bit slimmer and slimmer. We'll see. Ajax might want to come in again for him, but allegedly, right, Harry? We'll see what's going to happen with this one. But I'm happy to hear that Chelsea are probably going to go in for Leao in the summer, and I don't know how much I believe this, to be honest with you, because after the World Cup that Ziyech had, I find it hard to believe that AC Milan are all of a sudden going to be like, I'm less interested now. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think it might make sense actually, because if you're looking at the profile, let's say that Leao's not going to sign a new updated contract, right? You probably want to go for a profile similar to his or close to his. Ziyech is not going to fill that mold. He's going to be like a completely different player. So that might make a lot more sense if you think about it. Like maybe they thought, we're keeping Leao, having another Ziyech alongside him to do the playmaking and the attacking might have worked. But now you're losing. You might be losing Leao, so you might want to replace him maybe for like, not like over Ziyech, for example.
I mean, I could see that point too. For me, listen, you guys know, I don't mind Ziyech staying at the club. My problem with it is that he has to play. If he's going to be...
Even after the World Cup,
he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play. I don't think Potter's going to play him.
I just don't understand how Ziyech had,
Okay, shame on you, man.
Wasn't any surprise to me. It wasn't a surprise to any one of you here and no one else watching at home or anything like that. That I said it for months before that with Pulisic as well. These two players, obviously they aren't getting the game time, but when they do play, it's like, oh, come on. What? And then they play for their respective nations, and they play like master classes. They look like absolutely unbelievable. And it's like, yes, it looks good for them, but I'm not surprised, and it doesn't change my opinion on them whatsoever. Like, I don't look at them and think, wow, they are a good player afterward. We know they're good players. Good players. So my point is, I don't understand that AC Milan aside, like there has to be someone that is looking at Ziyech and thinking, like a Barcelona or something, like he could be a good player for us. We don't need him personally. I've enjoyed Ziyech at Chelsea, the same as Pulisic, but like obviously we're talking about Ziyech here. I just don't understand how there's not one single team other than AC Milan who are now not interested, that don't look at him after his World Cup performance and think he's still got something, even though he's on the older side in his respective position. Like it's just strange to me that there's no rumours at all of people interested in Ziyech, and I can only blame it on his attitude and like the way he carries himself. Is like he doesn't give a fuck. Like the way he moves is so.
I don't think
he just doesn't care.
I just think maybe his play style might be it.
It's too casual.
It's just the play style. I think It is sometimes his play style.
I don't know if you did it on purpose, Harry, or not. But...
I don't even know if his play style would suit the Serie A, to be honest. But it's just maybe they're just getting off put by how bad he's playing the league.
It doesn't suit the Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It does not suit it at all.
Like in terms of like what I want to see in a player, I want to see someone who looks like they care. Like he scored a fair few goals for Chelsea. I think even more so. I think he might have celebrated the one against Tottenham, which was like the screamer. But there are so many goals that he scored, and I don't know if it was around the time where he had his issues with Morocco, but he does not celebrate at all. And I don't know if that's because he wants to look cool or like he doesn't care or anything. But it's lame. It's so lame. I want to see passion. I want to see passion in players, and he doesn't bring that at all. And like. With the whole thing where he like bullied Reece James off the free kick in the Champions League or whenever it was, he completely like hit the wall like one free kick, and then 2 minutes later like someone else had the opportunity and he bullied them off to take it. His like insistence that he is like number one on free kicks or whatever. I just don't buy it. I don't buy that he's like invested in the club at all. That's my issue with Ziyech, is that I just don't think that he's invested in the club.
That's understandable, but I think with that is there's context to it, right? I think part of the reason that we even got to that point where it looks like he doesn't care about the club is that you remember under Lampard, we just went under a horrible streak of losses to the point where like when Ziyech was taken off of the FA Cup, I don't know if you guys remember, was it FA Cup or Carabao Cup? I think it was Carabao Cup. The game that the infamous game where Mason Mount got the captain's ban.
Oh my Lord.
That was I forgot what cup that was, but point being is that he came off and he was just like, disrespecting Lampard and all that stuff. I think there was already a mess in that locker room. To come back, Tuchel, new manager, he's getting some more play time, playing in the Champions League. All of a sudden he gets benched. Then things start falling out between him and Tuchel, and Mason's been bad for him, but he's playing. Kai's in bad for him, but he's playing, and it's just like just onslaught of reasons why he's not playing. I don't know if it's because he didn't train well or not. And then when he plays well, he gets benched the next game. There's just like a lot of things there. Of course, he is to blame for a good amount of it, obviously, being injured sometimes. I think the attitude, I think there is a little bit of that as well, that little Moroccan flair that he has, and he gets angry, he's not afraid to express it. But I think that frustration does come from the fact that like he came to this club, really wanted to play. His career at one point was pretty much over. He wasn't playing for Morocco anymore. He had retired from international duty, and then he wasn't even playing at Chelsea. He was being benched for players who were okay. And then when he does get to play, he has to play next to an Aspie or a Marcos Alonso who don't overlap. And we've seen with Hakimi how an overlapping runner for Ziyech is almost pivotal to how he wants to play. So I just think there's a lot of factors to why even his form wasn't even that great for Chelsea. Whether or not he works in the Premier League, I don't know. I think that's up for debate. I'm willing to agree with you guys on that. Maybe this isn't the league for him because of the physicality.
It's a weird one though, because he clearly has flair. Like Ziyech is like a player who definitely has the flair and like the personality, the charisma and everything. Like he has that little bit about him. He has that glint in his eye where he's just like, I know I'm good.
Yeah.
But I want to see like that personality, like a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like I know people are saying in the comments if you want to, this and that and everything else, but like I'm just saying from like what I want to see from Ziyech, knowing what he can provide. Yeah, I want to see more of him like come out of his shell. I feel like he's just a bit he's just not out of his shell completely because he doesn't play enough. I think that's
just a personality type. I think it's a personality type, because like with me, like I'm not a fan of like Mbappe or Neymar's attitude, right? But it's too much. I'm not. Look. Me saying I'm not a fan of their attitude is not anything controversial. All right. I think that's a very fair thing to say. Ahmed. Don't look at me with those fucking spicy takes eyes. All right. Hey man, I'm just saying.
Let's have it right.
There's a big difference from them, though. They actually deliver numbers and they have more talent than Mason Mount.
Yeah, fair.
Not Mason Mount, Ziyech, I mean, sorry. I don't know why I said Mason Mount.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure if Ziyech had more play time, was a starter for Chelsea, maybe stapled into the team, maybe if in the Lampard season we didn't go into the shittiest form ever, then who knows what would have happened? Maybe this story would have been totally different. Maybe Ziyech would have been this generational world class talent that we all expected.
Ziyech was like a talisman for us, under Lampard. People forget that, like.
He was, but I also, I take it with a grain of salt because I understand it was like what it was. Burnley was one match he balled out in, and then the other match was like Everton?
Some Champions League games. I just don't remember which ones.
Yeah. Well, I remember the Atletico Madrid game was a really great game for him.
Match, yeah.
Yeah, when we advanced.
That was a poor one. So.
Yeah, and even the Man City games too in that same season.
Yeah, so. Him and Timo, man, against Man City linked up really well. I remember those games.
Because he was just doing crossing. He was just doing what
not just crossing. It's through ball. He just hits.
No, I was talking. I'm not about that game.
He's like a Bruno in a way. Like he just hits the ball and hopefully it sticks. Obviously, he's not afraid to.
No. I was talking about the game. I believe it was. I think with Everton at home, where I think we won like 2-1. And he was just whipping that ball into the box. And then there was just no one there to fit. Yeah.
Well, whose fault is that if there's no one in the box? Maybe he's expecting them to run into the box and maybe get a head or a foot in, but they don't go in the box because their movement is like shit. Him and Timo together is actually decent because Timo's got good movement. He'll run into that box. So
the problem with Timo was he wouldn't put it away. And the same thing. Wait, Chris, if you remember too, the same thing was with Tammy. He had Tammy for a while, and this guy Tammy, to this day, still can't head a ball, man. And if you have a player who is gonna cross in the ball a lot, look at obviously not the best example because they didn't have the best finishing, but in Morocco's team, you have El Nazir, right? I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
El Nasiri, and he's up. He's really tall. He can head the ball. He got, there's the danger there. There would be games where we play Ziyech and there's no Giroud. We put a Tammy up there or Timo, who he had good. I agree with you, Chris. He had good link up with Ziyech, and I think that was always the plan. The Ziyech to Timo link up. That was like the one thing that I remember the fans touting, like, "Yo, this link up is gonna be fire." But then come the season, halfway through, Timo just kind of forgets how to score. Yeah,
like a 30% chance he might score.
And I'll agree with this as well. We haven't seen this yet. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know what Potter's plan is. I don't even think Potter really rates Ziyech, but at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. If he goes, I'm not going to be upset.
No one, listen, man. Ziyech, big man. This is just not your league.
Yeah,
I know. Ajax actually looking for players, by the way. They're looking for players. Yeah. If they're gonna cough up the money,
Ziyech 15 million.
You can go back to your old stomping grounds, man, and cook there.
I mean, he even said he's willing to take a wage cut, so.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think the man just wants to play football. So, let him go. And if he succeeds, hey, calm down, man. You said that so enthusiastically. Listen, if he goes, he goes. And you know what? I wish you the best, Ziyech. I wish it worked out at Chelsea, but sometimes these things happen, Murata settings. But all right, let's go ahead and continue on to the next segment I want to talk to you guys about. Let's talk about Emi Martinez potentially coming to Chelsea. Listen, this is bound to happen. Links, you got to throw your hat in the ring, right? Listen, PYS reporting Fabrizio Romano. Emiliano Martinez could be a part of a domino effect with goalkeepers next summer, perhaps with Chelsea or Manchester United. Let's see. Look, we are in the market for goalkeepers. Mendy, I don't know if Mendy's it anymore. I hate to say it, but Mendy, even in that World Cup, didn't look very good for Senegal. He had some howlers. He had one or two good appearances, but it's just
a shit house. That's it. That's all he is.
It's so unfortunate. It's depressing to see it.
We don't need Emi Martinez. Respectfully,
you cannot tell me. I know the World Cup, but he's not good enough. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's a shit house. He's really good at penalties as well. But apart from that,
you're just a dickhead.
This ruined my.
He's just a dickhead.
I have only one thing: is age. I think he's just too old. It's just no point.
How old is he?
30.
31.
I say
wow, I didn't know that.
He's just not good. Like I
wouldn't say
he's already. The problem is he's already in his prime. We don't want to be.
He's in his 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially goalkeepers getting their prime in their 30s. So
no, goalkeepers getting their prime around 26 upwards. Like it's not.
No, but he's
a lot of keepers can die pretty much at age 30 and up, like when they hit 30.
But most of the best keepers,
Not a lot, but some.
Most of the best keepers, their greatest feats usually happen in their early 30s, like late 20s. He's right now. He's in his prime.
Literally finished at age 30 something.
Who?
Pepe Reina and Valdez.
Pepe Reina, listen, he wasn't really a top 5 goalkeeper. All right,
no, but he's a good keeper.
He's a good keeper, but
he's not top
do you want good keeper?
Wait, Martinez is not top 5 keeper. I'm sorry.
But that's my point. Like, he's already in his prime and he's playing for Aston Villa. So like,
has there been a keeper? Has there been a keeper that's had a quicker rise to fame and drop in the space that Mendy has? Because obviously he went from literally being nearly unemployed to winning the Champions League, best goalkeeper in the world in some like.
But the story finished, man.
And then after that, fucking nothing. Like he's done.
Dude, literally life of a rock star. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I feel bad for him, honestly. Like, but
I do too.
also I don't because like at the same time he's won he's won it. He's won it all.
Yeah.
Like he's won.
And he
African
can find
Cup of
a lot
Nations.
of
He's won the African Cup of Nations and he's won the Champions League. Like, come on, for someone that was nearly unemployed like 2-3 years ago, like you can't complain. He cannot complain.
It's not the end for him anyway. If he's finished at Chelsea, a lot of clubs would take him. Like he's still like
Premier League.
He's still Premier League level, man.
I'm not even trying to be harsh because I am a big Mendy fan. Like I do rate him on his day, but the mistakes he makes are so bad. They are Sunday League level mistakes that he makes,
and they're starting to be too frequent as well. That's the other thing.
That's the issue. It's just Jesus Christ. Like some of the stuff he does is just I'm watching the game and he gets the ball. Like for some reason, there's some games in particular where we decide to pass the ball back to him more often than not, and I get so nervous when he gets the ball.
Me too.
But then he doesn't prove me otherwise. He makes me even more nervous by letting the player come to him too close and then clear the ball. And then even then the clearances aren't great. And it's just, for me, he's nowhere near good enough anymore to play for Chelsea. At least currently, the way he's playing. I hope he proves me wrong if he goes to another club, but,
I also have to add to that is that we have Kepa as well, and I don't know if Kepa's even good enough either, and he's on such high wages, he has to probably go as well.
Kepa's not, man. Listen, let's keep it real, guys. No. He's not. It's just not.
Okay, yeah.
He's had a nice little like resurgence period where it's not hard to be better than Mendy these days. But for me, the height is still an issue. Like his wingspan just is still an issue. Like I know he hasn't been beaten from distance, but there's some time, like recently, he has been definitely beaten by distance in the past.
Yeah.
But in recent history, it's not. It's still like when he's on the ball. I'm like not when he's on the ball when they're going like lining up for a long shot. I'm like Jesus Christ, please don't shoot, please do not shoot because it will go in. It will go in. Do you guys think that we should be focusing on getting a keeper in January?
No.
Not in January.
Or do you think we can survive trying to get top 4 with the 2 keepers we have?
I think we can survive trying to get top 4 with the 2 keepers.
I think it's just about maintaining like a strong enough defense where our defense can handle as much as possible. Hopefully,
but it's the mistakes. It's the mistakes in goal though. Yeah, but the long shots with Kepa, if you've got Kepa in goal, I know he's done well recently, but I feel like he hasn't really been challenged too much recently.
I'm gonna push back on that just because I feel like there are some games I recall where Kepa was basically our man of the match because our defense has been terrible.
Close distance, absolutely. He's clinical. Like he's an absolutely goal stopping machine when it comes to like close distance. 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm still scared of the Wilfried Zaha goals or like the Liverpool goals that we had in the last couple of seasons or whatever. But
thank you, Oliver. These games pretty much, Villa and Brentford pretty much, those games where he was pretty pivotal.
Yeah. 100%. He's done us, brilliantly.
This is gonna lead me into what I want to say about Emi Martinez. I actually rate him. I've always have rated him. When Aston Villa was actually decent, before this season. He was making some pretty good saves. I think you guys are right. Maybe he's not of the right age to be a Chelsea player, and maybe he's not even the Chelsea standard per se. Right? I preferably would want a world class keeper like I mean I don't know if you want to call him a world class keeper, but Livakovic of Croatia. He looked phenomenal in the World Cup. Costa. I don't know if Costa really convinced me, to be honest. Sanchez is another keeper that has a lot of potential.
Younger Martinez still.
You're going to say Meslier?
Oblak. He's 29.
Oh, Oblak. Oblak as well. That's another. I mean, that is. It is what it is.
I would love to get him because he is actually a good keeper. I'm not sure if I'm world class still, but he's still quite a good keeper.
With Martinez, like I've seen him enough to know that like he has good goalkeeping ability. He has good reaction time, good saves. He can dive for the ball, all that, commanding in the box as well. Obviously, all keepers make mistakes, right? And I'm not going to say he's like Manuel Neuer in his prime level either. Obviously, I'm keeping a level head about this, and I'm not like over the top about Martinez coming to Chelsea. But if he were to come to Chelsea, he easily starts in this team, and I think, he could serve as like a patch for about 3 years, 4 years, who knows? I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the situation. I do rate him though. I think he's good.
I'm sick of the goalkeeper situation. I love that. I saw Sky Sports uploaded a video today of us losing 3-0 to Sunderland back in 2011. And I was still looking at Petr Cech then thinking, my God, what a fucking goalkeeper he was. Mm-hmm. We lost 3-0 and I was still looking at some of the saves he was making in that game because none of the goals are his fault. Mm-hmm. And I was still looking at, and I think a lot of people forget like the quality of goalkeepers we have had. Yeah, more so, Petr Cech in recent history for most people. But in the course. Like Bonetti and all that sort of stuff, even Kudacini. But like with Cech, it's like we've had one of the best goalkeepers ever play for Chelsea, and I feel like we just need someone that is going to be. I mean, we had Courtois, and it didn't work out, and he has since turned back into one of the best in the world. But I don't know. I'm sick of this whole debate of like. Stand-ins more or less for goalkeepers. Who's gonna stand in as our goalkeeper for the time being until we find someone more established? But
I get that. I just think
it's just frustrating because I want a good goalkeeper. I think if Chelsea have a good goalkeeper, a really good goalkeeper, we're sorted.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. What Selena will become, the one that we sent to Chicago Fire, the American.
I just think the problem is should we focus obviously on goalkeeper, or do we need to focus on the other issues which are slightly more pressing, I would say, than the GK? Even the GK probably is top 3 or 4 places that we have to fix fast. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure.
There are absolutely, yeah. But I'm just saying that for me, that one position it's just always like ground my gears in terms of like I just want that one position sorted. Like I don't want I miss the days of having a solidified number 1 and then
we're spoiled. 2.
Yeah,
in a sense we're spoiled. Yeah. We had one of the greatest in the world.
And then we had like Begovic, Hilario, Kudacini, and all these players. And they were all good, apart from Hilario. But they were all good. They were all good in their own right. Begovic, brilliant, fantastic player in his day when he was like the few games he played for Chelsea. Kudacini, fantastic, a little small, but but Cech just held the line for so long, and then we were so spoiled, like you say.
Yeah, we just had that longevity factor in it. That's what it is.
But the defense
back in the good old days.
At times, I know what you're saying, Ahmed. In terms of like, there are other pressing positions that fair play to the goalkeepers in recent months or in the last year or two. They don't make it easy for the goalkeepers at all. Like we're very leaky at times. As good as our defenders, like on paper, as good as they are, so leaky.
And what's unfortunate too is that with the transfers that have been happening, it's been so focused on defense or attack. There's one big part here that we're actually missing, which is the freaking midfield, and there's been like barely any links. And it's like, hey, are we just gonna run this midfield until they're in their 40s? Tell me.
Zubameidi from Real Sociedad, apparently. Zubameidi, you never heard of Martin Zubameidi? Zubameidi, that's what it's called. Yeah, I
understand. I understand Ruben Neves. I understand Locatelli. Who the hell?
Real Sociedad, he's 23-year-old CDM.
I'm gonna have to look into that then. But oh man, that's news to me. That's refreshing to hear, man.
It actually came out this morning.
Midfielder
It was like S.A. Phillips in it, so.
Yeah, we'll look into that on Sunday and we'll talk about it for sure. Also, let's talk about this one. Speaking of positions, let's get this in the books. Apparently, we are getting closer to Youssef Moukoko. We went from not the link that didn't really make sense to now, hey, apparently Chelsea are front runners for this. So this is Simon Phillips reporting here. I'm going to read this real quick down here. I think this is the part, right? So Baron Back says, it's clear that a lot of top clubs are looking at Moukoko, and we are keen on him because he is free of charge in the summer and is a bargain. We hear that Chelsea is the closest. There have already been negotiations and talks. Other clubs on the list include Manchester United, Liverpool, Barcelona, Newcastle, but the hottest is Chelsea, with the others is not yet so far. Other links as well. Tweets here, we have Ben Jacobs reporting multiple Premier League clubs are prepared to sign Dortmund's Youssef. There's the A there, man. It throws me off. Youssef, the silent killer. All right, got you. Youssef Moukoko in January, even though if he doesn't agree a new deal, he's available on free this summer. Chelsea leading the race prior to Armando Broja injury. This is answering your question, Chris. They were making progress on a summer deal. More here. Chelsea could explore paying a fee in order to get Moukoko earlier, but that wasn't the original plan prior to Broja being out for the rest of the season. Moukoko has 6 goals and 6 assists in 22 games for Dortmund. His agent Patrick Williams told Sky Germany, "We are not about to conclude a contract extension with Borussia Dortmund. Talks will continue over the coming days." I think the rest is just about Manchester United also considering getting him, Liverpool as well, Spurs, La Liga teams.
I don't know if you heard, but Denise today.
Prospect, yes.
Denise today, but like I'm confused with Liverpool because I'm hearing they're trying to spend 150 million on like Bellingham. They're trying to also spend like almost 100 million in euros roughly on Enzo Fernandez as well. And they're trying to get Kudus and this guy as well. So, you know, I'm not sure if they've got all of the money right now.
They're linked with everyone all the time, though. That's the issue.
Yeah, it's almost becoming a bit crazy, yeah. So
it's the same with us. Whenever we're linked to anyone, as soon as other teams like Liverpool, Man City, as soon as Man City are linked with anyone, I just think we're never going to get that player. We're just not going to get that. We are categorically... You might as well end this segment here. We're not getting him. We're not getting him. We are not getting him.
Dare to dream. Come on, bro.
No, we're not getting him. There are too many higher or high profile teams. When do we ever win this battle? When do we ever win this battle? We never win this.
We need to
when it comes to teams where it's like Madrid are there or It's you know I'm speaking facts. Yeah. We never win this battle. We're an elite side. We're a top side. We used to be able to sign play, but now no one wants to fucking come to this team. They don't want. I'm sorry, but Jesus, it's done. Like the law that we have at Chelsea, it seemingly has gone since Abramovich has left. Like we can't attract players. We can't seem to attract players at all. And a player like him, he'll look at other players that have played at Chelsea recently, and it's fucking gone tits up for them massively. And he'll think, I'm not going there.
New regime hype.
New regime.
I'm not blaming Todd Bowley, but I'm just saying in general.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there's a way to blame him. I'm saying it's a new regime. But obviously they could.
But even even towards the end with Roman, it was not we're not the team. We're not the team that people want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could argue back when we got Havertz and Werner, they were like high-profile players and everything like that. But like high prospects like this, they don't want to. He might want to come to Chelsea, but there are other teams who will get him before we do, if that makes sense.
I agree, but you know, there's one important factor.
Put some more respect on our name. Harry, Jesus Christ, come to our team.
There's one important factor that, you know, we have that Man City just plain don't have, you know, and it's just
fucking minerals, bro.
Listen, that's all it takes to get this guy over the line, man. We have the minerals to take him. Listen, no. On a serious note, though, it is up to the player at the end of the day. But you're right. You're totally right. I think when we were linked with Endrick and people were getting all excited, oh, he came to the bridge and watched the training. He spoke with Thiago Silva and the parents out in the back of my head.
That was the only thing that got me, and they just hooked me into the trap. As soon as Thiago Silva was mentioned, I was like, we might have a chance here. And then the next day, pretty much, or like a couple of days later, it's like
when he went to visit
he
Spain,
signed for Real Madrid. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, when he went to visit Spain, I was like, yeah, if Real Madrid are gonna go for him, he's probably gonna want to go for Real Madrid because, to be honest, like Real Madrid, they're
someone just
said, they've been so attractive.
Chun just said in the chat, it will take 4 years to wipe our poor reputation. We have a reputation for ruining careers. For several players. We have more reputation, apart from obviously winning the Champions League, but after then, players have kind of, you know, we've won it, and then afterwards, everyone has just gone and straight down. And now no one wants to come to our team.
We need a legend.
We are still, and we'll always be an elite club, and we'll always be a top performing club and competing for the big titles. We always will be. But it's if the young players like Moukoko that they'll think, do I want to? Will I even get a chance? Because they'll look at even people like Kennedy or whoever and think like, he went there with a dream and it didn't fucking work out at all. Like, he was not touted to be like one of the top talents, but like still, we just seem to kill people. We would just have that, like, we have the death touch. We have the death touch at the moment.
Oh boy.
You know,
warning! Don't come to Chelsea.
You know what we need right now?
We really do. As a Chelsea fan, all of you must see it. Like we just don't, we haven't been too lucky with for young players. We're not an appealing club at all, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
We know what we need. We need the like Czech was there before. We need like another guy now, someone that's a bit of a legend of the club that can sort of speak to these kids. You know, just a bit more on their level. And just, you know, attract them. That's what you need, man. Listen, you can cuss out Lampard all you want, but Lampard had some sort of...
No. That's not why I'm laughing. Because, like, as soon as you said that, the first player that came to my mind was, like, Marcus Alonso. Let's go. Marcus Alonso, come back to Chelsea. be part of the board of directors or something and just start talking to these players or something, you know? Marcus Alonso, of all people. Imagine how far we've gone off the path to get Marcus Alonso to come back to convince players to come to Chelsea.
My God.
I think that's so much in Chelsea, man.
Chris, what do you think about this use of Moukoko, man? Do you think it's possible?
I haven't really watched him, to be honest, so I have no.
He's good. Just know that he's very like.
Okay.
He's
all
the
you
next.
Need to know.
He's another baller will go very
all
well.
you need to know. He is one of, if not the biggest upcoming talent.
Wait, what's his name again?
Yeah.
And that's
Moukoko.
Knowing that he is touted to be one of the next upcoming or the next upcoming talent. Do you think Chelsea stand a chance when Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, Liverpool, every other team that we compete with on a daily fucking basis? Do you really think we have a chance of signing him?
So if he wants his dreams to be ruined and everything, and his like whole career to be dead, come to Chelsea. God. Come to Chelsea. You'll be ruined like with a year or so. So yeah, come to Chelsea. You'll play with Mason Mount. You'll get tons of chances from him. Like, come to Chelsea, man. There's loads of chances. We've got Mason Mount and Kai Havertz.
See, the thing is, like,
I hate that we don't have that pull anymore.
I
did at one point. We really had a pull at one point. But I hate how negatively I look at the club now. I love Chelsea.
I do too. I hate it.
You all know I do. Like, it is literally the one thing, apart from my girlfriend, but like, no, more. To be fair,
you gotta
I love
emphasize that part.
No, but I do love Chelsea more than my girlfriend, and she knows it. but it is a fact that it's like, it's tough. It's tough to look at. It is like it's looking at your relationship and thinking this is failing. But I'm sticking in with it for the long run. No matter what happens,
it's like we're married.
I'm staying in it. Yeah, I'm married. I'm married till death do us part to Chelsea.
The worst
like, I'm never leaving. I'm never leaving.
Are too expensive.
As ugly as Chelsea has become, I still got to look at it and shag it every single week. Do you know what I mean? Like I still have to look at it and think like I love you. I still love you.
Oh no!
I still have to. I still have to look at her every single week and think like I love you to death. I love you. The love is still there, but God, you're so
close your eyes, man. Just when you watch Chelsea, close your eyes.
That's all it is. That's all it is. I love the team, but it's such an ugly team these days. Like I don't know where to put my cards.
The only thing we have that can attract players is like NKUNKU, maybe money. That's the only way we're gonna get.
But here's the other thing too that I want to mention is that we have a project though, right? There is a project though in the club. Like I think there is an attraction in that at least. That there is a project in the future. Look at the young people that were coming in. Look, I agree with Harry. If another club comes with him, it's very likely he's not going to come to Chelsea. If Real Madrid comes to the table, Barcelona comes to the table, even Man City. You know, I don't think Liverpool. That's questionable right now, but. I think they have a lot more pulling power than us. But if he were to come to Chelsea, if there is actually a chance that we can get him, right? I think if we can have him understand that, listen, we're working on rebuilding this team from the ground up. Okay, we're getting all these young players, El Rayan, oh my God, Hutchinson, Chukwemeka, all these young players. We're going to start, rebuilding the team, getting really talented players in. We're making a project, right? And we're trying to try to make it as much homegrown and young talent as possible. And you can be a part of that. You can be a figurehead of that. I think that can be an attractive prospect to someone like Yusufa Moukoko. That's what I think could potentially happen here, because it looks like Chelsea is going in that direction with a few senior players here and there, like a Sterling, and we don't know what's happening with Aubameyang, if his future is going to remain here for a little longer, another season or two.
Is limited.
I don't disagree with that, but my point being is that we're sprinkling in some experience in there as well, but I think maybe with that in mind, maybe there's a possibility that he comes to Chelsea. I think there is a project there. I don't know. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that, but that's just my 2 cents on that. Oh, okay. Let me, before we go on to the next subject, guys, make sure you're smashing that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you have something to say, make it have some substance. And if you disagree with what we say, tell us why you disagree instead of mumbling and rambling on like a fucking half-witted retard. Anyways, we move. Let's talk about Jorginho's contract. Why not? And yes, that was shots. So let's go. And Jorginho, Fabrizio Romano reporting. Graham Potter is creating a very good relationship with all of us. He's working hard. New deal talks. It's normal to speak. Next question. And then a fun little question about play, bench, sell on Modric, Bellingham, Jorginho. He would sell himself, start Modric, and bench Bellingham. But I'm bringing this up because, we are still talking about... He's not wrong about that, by the way. But the reason I bring this up is because lately I feel like there's been this conversation about what we're going to do in January. And I think the clear cut that we all agree on is that N'Golo Kante most likely has to go, right? But this idea, and this is the part that bothers me. People are also saying that Jorginho has to go this January window. I'm not here to say that Jorginho has to stay at the club. I'm not saying that Jorginho needs to retire at the club. If he wants to go, fine. That's fine. I think...
Can I just say one thing real quick? That first reply, I'm sorry. The first reply on that tweet is so disrespectful. It's unbelievable.
Wait, what did it say? I haven't drank any water since yesterday. Ronaldo and England fans' tears have sustained me. Oh my God.
I feel so attacked. Sorry,
you want me to block it for you? You're fine.
No.
But my point being is that I don't disagree that Jorginho doesn't need to leave the club. That's fine. It is what it is, right? Like I think over time, I like Jorginho, but if he leaves the club, I'm not going to be like, oh, we lost our best player, because I don't think, I think we could get better midfielders. I agree that there's better midfielders out there that suit the club maybe better in that role as well. But the thing is that I find it crazy that people want Jorginho to leave in January, because then who are you left with in the midfield? We're not even really linked. I mean, today you told me, Ahmed, we have some links, right? But outside of today, we're not really linked with any midfielders. We're making progress towards defenders and attackers, even goalkeepers. There's really not that many people. So you're telling me you want Jorginho to leave, the guy who's been the most reliable, the guy who's been showing up to work, the guy that, he doesn't do anything outstanding, but he does the very basics and fundamentals of, a midfielder very, very, very well. And what do you want? Kovacic to play like all of his minutes when he can barely stay fit as well? And on top of that, like he might not even be available.
What is his problem?
I don't know what I don't know what Kovacic's problem.
Injured all the fucking time. I hate him.
We go back to the physio thing.
I love him. Don't get me wrong. He's class, but fuck me, he's injured all the time.
You know what's funny?
I think we go back to the physio thing.
Getting on my nerves.
Kovacic didn't get into the World Cup, playing 100%. He's playing 100% as well. But Chelsea, 2 weeks later, Kovacic knee injury. Yeah, it's coming up, man.
It's a surprise that no one's actually, when so many people question Jorginho's dedication and so like even Ziyech, Pulisic, and everything else. Kovacic is one of my favorite players at Chelsea, if not one of my top 2, top 3. But you've actually raised a good point of like, what is his dedication to the club? When now we've got the World Cup, and he's played the way he has in the World Cup. But for Chelsea, he can only play like 30, 35 minutes at a time coming off the bench. Or if he does start, he goes off at half time or after like 55 minutes or so. It makes you question. But at the same time, I go back to what I've always said, was that I feel like this season was so distorted in the fact that everyone was playing to be fit for the World Cup and didn't want to get injured.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
So you can bet your bottom dollar that everyone is going to be so much better.
I hope so.
Come Bournemouth, and I've seen the stats, and I still think we're somehow going to lose it. It's all against us. It really is. But at the same time, like I have got high hopes for Chelsea to come back, because I've been riding on this thing of like everyone was only playing to stay fit for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Example: Ziyech, Pulisic, Kovacic now in hindsight, and so on and so forth. It's clear as day. And even Thiago Silva said in an interview that people were trying not to get injured and playing half-hearted.
And now it's showtime, innit? Now it's showtime, man.
Yeah.
Now you need to get to the board.
Yeah, now you have to show up. You haven't got.
And you know what it is as well? Like Arsenal now have lost like their star man, essentially their main striker. Like we need to now start taking advantage of these other team injuries. Even though
for sure. That was definitely a big thing with Arsenal too, because like guys, let's have it right. Like, I mean, part of the reason. Sorry, let me do this.
Let's
properly.
have it right.
Part of the reason why I've been so a little bit like negative about. I kind of given up on the season, right? Look, I'm going to support Chelsea no matter what. I'm going to cheer them on. I'm going to hope we win and all that stuff. And no matter what happens, I'm always going to be a Chelsea fan, right? At the end of the day, it is what it is. But we've knocked out of the Carabao Cup. Not that it really matters, but we're 16 points away from Arsenal. We've been in really bad form for most of the season. We're going through injuries. We have a new manager who we don't even know how it's going to plan out. There's just so much going on with Chelsea that this season it looks like a hard season to come back from. But back to my point. Regardless of how you feel about Jorginho, regardless of what agenda you may have, you have to look for what's best for the club. And if you think we're just going to take the midfield and just crumble it up, throw it out and get a new one, it's just not going to happen that way. It's just not going to happen that way. It's going to be a slow transition. You want senior players to kind of hold these younger players' hands like a Jorginho, which as far as I'm aware, and I'm sure it's a lot of it's PR, but every single player that has played with Jorginho, every single person that has played with Jorginho on this team has always said that he is a very, very talented midfielder, very, very talented in the team when it comes to passing and stuff. There's a lot to learn from this guy. I know you guys don't rate his creativity. I know people don't rate the side-to-side passing and how slow he is. I get it. There's a lot of things about Jorginho that aren't great. But if you're going to sit here and tell me that we're going to go the rest of the season without Jorginho and Conte and we're only Kovacic, pretty much, you're crazy. You're absolutely nuts. We're not even linked with
Conte's not even here, man.
Conte's not even fit yet. And
he
even if he does come back fit.
2 months of injuries from traiing. The guy is finished.
We need to realize, we can't let everyone go.
Yeah, we can.
Everyone. Listen, some of them have to stay in order for us to replace the other areas that need fixing.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, listen, the thing is, like, I'm gonna be the first one to say it here. Aspilicueta is probably leaving at the end of the season. Like, let's be real, guys. He's definitely leaving at the end of the season. We need at least some form of a deputy, some sort of an old statesman that's been at the club for quite a while to ensure the transition to happen, and then he can lead the season after. And I think Jorginho is like the right type of person for that to happen. And also, he'd be a quality backup to have. I don't understand this idea of like.
God damn it, Chun. No, continue, Ahmed. I'm sorry, I just read this comment.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, we can have him as a backup.
Yeah.
But we don't need to automatically, sell him. Like, it's not just about let him go for free. Like, it's gonna hurt the club as well at the same time, So we don't want that to be happening.
And again, I'm not vouching for Jorginho to stay. I think it is what's best for Chelsea that we do move on from Jorginho, we replace that midfield, right? But I think that's something that maybe in the summer we're going to get done. In January, my priority is hopefully moving on Conte and finding a midfield to replace him. Because as of right now, it's not looking good with Conte. We saw him twice this season. He's been absent for so long. It feels like ages since I've seen Conte play because he's just injured all the time. And he got re-injured the same injury he had originally. But yeah, Chris, you got to head out, brother. You want to say any last words on this before you head out?
I would say, let's keep Jorginho because like you said, Kante's never here. If Kovacic doesn't sort out his injuries next season, sadly, if he don't, we've got to keep Jorginho. He's actually a available person who actually plays good. He doesn't play bad. He doesn't play overly the top, like amazing, like wow, look at him. But he's a good player to have, and I think we would definitely notice if he leaves and we have like injury players left and no real midfielder. So yeah, keep Jorginho.
Fair play. Chris, you have a wonderful night, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
All
see
right.
you guys.
Do a sheep, man.
Why must we always bring the sheep into this? All right, it is fine. All right, last topic I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let's go ahead and touch this one, okay? That came off wrong, but anyways, I have to show. So the brown envelopes, people have slid me a little bit of a tip that I want to show you guys. This is a Casually FC exclusive. Ahmed, you haven't seen this yet, but let's go ahead and put this up.
You need an exclusive sound effect, by the way.
Yeah, there we go. Right here. So this is the leaked Mason Mount contract. We have a Mason Mount contract. He's gonna apparently the offer was to reduce his salary. And the bonuses, I think this is what put him off, is no more evil eyes. He has to score more than 10 goals, and relegation teams don't count. There can't be any more minerals, and he can't match
no minerals.
No more. He can't have matching haircuts with his brother Kai. It just can't happen anymore. So I guess we found out why there's been a standstill in contract negotiations, and very understandably so. But no, on a real note, let me minimize this and let's go ahead and give you guys the real freaking news on this. So pretty much what's going on here? All right, there we go. Pretty much with the Mason Mount news, we have here that Liverpool are pretty much keeping an eye on him, being the situation that we still haven't found a negotiation with him on his contract situation. The England star is out of contract in 2024 and has so far failed to agree with the Blues. So listen, I don't know what's true, what's not. on the whole Mason Mount situation, whether he turned down 200K a week or not. There's more news as well here. There are lots of English clubs watching the situation. Liverpool, I know, will be one of them. They're keeping an eye on it. Not going to be signed. They're going to be waiting there. So listen, I think there are clubs that do suit Mason Mount better. Liverpool probably being one of those clubs as well. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, boys, because in one aspect, I'm like, okay, listen, I know Mason Mount has the potential to be a really, really good player, and on his day, he does play really well. But this season, it hasn't been there. It's been there for.
I would argue last season as well. There was a decline, even though he statistically was up there, right? There wasn't like a decline happening there as well. I just think if I'm the club right now, you want to get the contract as close as possible, but you want to monitor how he's performing in January and February as well. Because the worry I have is if he does continue on this downward decline, the club is sort of in like a rock and a hard place in the sense of.
Actually, I didn't even deepen like that, Ahmed. When you look at his season and with Frank Lampard and Tuchel, and then the season after that, which is last season, and this one, there has been a decline.
That's what I'm saying to you. So the question that you have to have is, all right, and if you're the club, he's going through decline. He's even played well for England, to be honest. He's now coming in here, and you're trying to like obviously negotiate a contract with him. If he's not performing in January and February as well, and he's declining even more, the question becomes: is he even worth giving a contract extension to? Because this would technically be his like second season now that he's declined.
This is a big contract for him as well, because he's at that age now where, and we're seeing how Chelsea have been working lately with the long-term contracts, right? With Chalobah and Reece. This is going to be a big contract for him. So it's important that we get all the details right and everything, all that, cross the T's, dot the I's and all that. And on your point, Ahmed, I think it's very, very smart of the club to be careful with how they go on negotiating this deal with him. But on the Mason Mount thing, right? On the performances, it just hasn't been up to par. And to be honest with you, look, I'm just going to be honest. I'm at the point with Mason Mount where I am so sick and tired of the stands and how much, and not even just the stands, it's the media too now. It's getting that bad where now we have big name pundits absolutely defending him, no matter what the situation is. It was a shock to me that Gareth Southgate even benched him. For that to happen, it was just like I couldn't believe it. It's been so in favor towards Mount playing and being this player that everyone touts him to be, that I just didn't see that ever happening. For him to actually get benched, and then I'm sure. Look, I don't tune into the English media that often, but I'm sure even Southgate got criticized for benching Mount. I'm sure there was lots of criticism on that.
No, he really?
Oh, okay, never mind.
At all.
Chelsea. Okay,
not even slightly.
There you go. Cool. I only know one person. But that being said, it's just like his form just hasn't been good, and there's been a dip. And I know people like to say, "Oh, he had the top GA last season, and he was Chelsea's best player of the season," all that stuff.
Compare it to the players we had. Fuck me.
Exactly.
I know you're not saying it, but like
I know. Yeah, exactly.
You know who we're talking about here.
Yeah, I know.
It's not even.
Let's have it right.
Day. It's clear as day. Just compare the last two seasons' stats. Like he's been in no competition at all. Not really.
It's the standard has dropped completely.
He's played well in at least one of the two seasons for sure. He's played well, but I'm just saying, for the love of God, like he's had no competition. No one's been good. No one has been good at all.
No,
he hasn't been good. He has not been good.
Like all of the listen, we could speak on every single player of the team and how they've basically been, but he's looking for a blockbuster contract, and arguably speaking, he hasn't earned the right. He hasn't earned it.
Yeah. That's the thing.
But the thing is with the Liverpool thing, I will say this: we've got more chance of signing Moukoko than we do have selling Mason Mount to Liverpool. That is all I'll say.
Well, hold on.
There is no chance. There's no chance. There's zero chance.
I don't.
Zero chance. We are not.
I don't.
I think in the past we have been stupid enough to sell to like rivals or do stupid things. If we sell Mason Mount to Liverpool, it will be one of. I'm trying to think. We've made some stupid decisions before I say it, but I do genuinely think that Mason Mount to Liverpool may end up being the worst decision we have ever made. Genuinely, because I know he's not great right now, and people have their opinion, and I know we banter Johnny and all this sort of stuff, but we know he is a very good player. He is a very good player. There's
potential in him,
yeah. That's the thing that we're riding on the most, and people that are like willing to criticize him are not afraid to criticize him. Shall we say? Is that he's like we say with the last 2 years, he's been the best, but he's been the best of a bad bunch. He's not been anything special. He's not been anything mad.
He's average. I think he's average. Yeah.
Compared to what we've seen in recent, not in recent years, in past years, in years gone by, keep going back to like we've been spoiled and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the way that certain people go on about him is that like he's the best player we've ever had,
and that's the detestable part. That's the really detestable part, because the other thing is like, you know, back to what Harry was saying about the standard, right, and players of the past. You look at Mason Mount's, you know, player of the season last season. That player and those stats, if you look at those stats and you put him in a Chelsea team 5 years prior, he's average. He's not even in like the top 3 or the top 5. He's in the middle. He's just a utility player, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with having a player like him in the team if he's going to be used that way. I think right now at Chelsea, he's being overplayed. He has no merits as to he's overplayed. He has no merit to why he should be starting. I think he's always been effective when he comes off the bench or has a game where he doesn't play, and the game that he does, where he's rotated in.
I just hate how he is. Sorry to interrupt, but like,
of course, go ahead.
The one main thing I will just very quickly mention. Someone said, what did they say? We let Kevin De Bruyne and Salah, all much better players. Yes. Yeah. Once they grew, they were never two like back-to-back player of the season for Chelsea. They were never even close to how good he was.
Also, big upcut.
They were never once as good as Mount was for Chelsea in either of those seasons. But the issue with Mount, for me, the biggest issue for Mount for me is that he is so overplayed. He's like played into the ground. Yeah. And that I think even he would say, as much as every person who's ever played football or soccer or whatever the fuck you want to call it will say, everyone loves to play football, but even the best players will be like, I need a fucking break. Like, you can't play me every single minute of the... look at Azpilicueta. I'm not for 1 second saying like he was ever our best player, but like there were seasons where he would play every single minute of every single game. And then even I think he got the record at one point for like Premier League, most consistent games played in a row.
Yeah, he's done that before. He's played the whole season, I think.
But he holds the record or something ridiculous. Like he holds the Premier League record, or at least for Chelsea, where he's played the most consecutive minutes in a stretch of time ever for either Chelsea or in the Premier League. And I think even he said in an interview, it's just like, I need rest. I understand I'm influential to the team, or I'm like a big team player and all this, but I need a fucking break. Like, come on. I'm a human being. Yeah. And I guarantee you, Mount, even though he won't say it because he's young.
He won't say it, yeah.
He absolutely is thinking the same of like, I need a break. And there's this whole thing of... that Johnny does go on about is that he's reliable. He doesn't get injured ever. But all it takes is one injury from being overplayed too long. As soon as a player, once a player has played so much, If they get one injury, that's it. And for people like him that say like Mount is as influential in the game and he was a generational talent and he's all this and he was all that and everything else, once he gets injured once and it's a bad injury from being overplayed, it's done. It's done. And my in terms of going to Liverpool, I do think it will be a massive mistake. And I know, what was it, Tune said, or someone said in terms of like, we let De Bruyne go or you know, Salah go and all that sort of stuff. I do think, based on what we know about Mount in the fact that he has been 2-time player of the year for us, I think he would only be worse at Liverpool. I think he'll be the worst one we've ever let go, genuinely. And I know I've bantered him all this time, but like, I do personally want to keep him. I do think he is incredibly overrated at Chelsea, but at the same time, I think he is a massive talent for us. He's not generational, but he is a massive talent. He's a huge talent, and if we let him go to someone like a foreign side, then that's fine. I would be okay with that. But if we let him go straight to Liverpool or a Man City, I think we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked.
But I mean, to that point too, it also does depend on him, right? Like with the contract negotiation,
he will not do that. He will not go to Liverpool, and if he does. What do you think? What do you think Johnny would do? Honestly,
listen,
he'll start. He'll start chanting, "You'll never walk alone."
No, there's a part of me. There's a part of me that is kind of like, I kind of want him to go to Liverpool just to see what Johnny would be like. just for that alone, I would be so intrigued. So intrigued.
What are you saying, Ahmed? What are you saying?
I just think if he goes to Liverpool, it will only get worse for him, to be honest, because
Really?
Liverpool. He would be playing in the high intensity football that Klopp plays. He's going to be played non-stop, just as he's been playing being played at Chelsea. If he becomes like a regular player, so the trajectory is only going to remain the same, to be honest. Unless he, for example, unless he gives him time to rest, which
does he make it into the two teams?
But that's another question, to be honest. But I'm just saying, if he did get into like the starting 11, he will be played constantly. Klopp doesn't really like to change his teams, so he basically continue the sort of declining formation that he's had now.
Yeah, I mean, unlike Harry, I'll admit I'm very neutral on this now. I was at one point, I didn't really want him to go, but it's like one of those things that like, it's like that friend at a party, right? That he's your good mate, he's your good friend, right? But he always has to bring his girlfriend, and no one likes his girlfriend. And Mount's girlfriend is pretty much his fan base, right? And the same thing goes to Declan Rice. So it's one of those things like, I really want to like this kid, but man, everything around him is so loud and obnoxious.
He's a cool guy. He's a cool.
He's a cool
kid. He's a cool kid, but like, fuck his girlfriend. Honestly,
he'll bring. Yeah, exactly. His girlfriend's always starting drama.
We all know the girlfriend
always
as well.
Breaking shit, always getting the cops called on her.
She's the most annoying girlfriend as well.
Yeah, she's always getting too drunk and rowdy. Exactly, like it's like that. But
Joanna Minerals.
To make a case for why I think he would work at Liverpool, I would argue that in that Liverpool side, the issue with him at Chelsea is that I think we're relying on him way too much for creativity, whereas in Liverpool, most of the creativity comes from that front three. I think Henderson, Milner, and the midfielder they have there, Thiago Alcantara, whenever he's there, Fabinho, they do most of the midfield work of the pressing and just passing the ball up, and then the attack just does the rest, right? I think the high pressure pressing that Liverpool does suits the way that Mount plays. And if you take off, if you alleviate that pressure of creativity off Mount's shoulders, I think he's a solid player. I think he's a solid midfielder. You put him in as a number 8, he gets the job done. He has the stamina to do it and run around the pitch and do the bare basics. It's when you rely on him for creativity where our frustrations lie. How many overshot passes? How many undershot passes? How many times does he shoot the ball and misses completely? How many times does he cross the ball for a corner and it hits the short? It doesn't even make it past the first post. There's all these frustrations with the creativity side of Mount and the finishing side. I think once you take that away from him, that responsibility, he becomes a reliable player. And I think that's why at Liverpool, I think it would work out. That's my argument for it. And maybe I'm wrong.
But you just simply put, at Chelsea, you just don't get the hype at all.
I get it. And I think a lot of that hype was instilled during that Lampard season, and even I fell for it. That I could see him being this Lampard regen. But
he's not like, but the way people say, and I'm not just saying Johnny, like I'm not just saying, but there are people like there have been articles that have come out about essentially people bullying him, or like people not understanding football and all this, like we aren't allowed an opinion or anything like that. He is not as good as people fucking make out he is. I'm sorry.
And that's the issue.
I really am a fan of Mason Mount. I genuinely am a fan of Mason Mount. I really am. Yeah. However, it's got to a point where I'm sick of it. I really am sick of it. Like the over inflation of you.
It's the pundits.
You have to respect. You have to respect Mason Mount. What has he done? I know. Yes, we've won the Champions League, but apart from that, I truly, really, really want him to succeed because he's a Chelsea player. But it's all. I've never been a fan of like when something's forced on you. Do you know what I mean? Like when
that's what it feels like. Yeah,
it is. It is like the whole. Like, let's be fair. Let's be really fair here.
Yeah.
To you two right now. Who to you? And it's a very obvious answer I'm looking for. Who is the face, the current player? Who is the face of Chelsea right now? If you had to,
of course, Mount. There's no. I would deny that. Of course, Mount.
No, not because you've been told to. So, like,
no, I don't deny that because it's a fact. Like it's actual fact.
Okay, all right. Then who would you say out of Mount and one other obvious person, who is the future face of Chelsea?
Probably Mount and James, isn't it? I'll take
James. James. For me, James is currently. I don't understand how he is not pushed as much as Mount to be the face of Chelsea Football Club. I just don't understand.
I prefer not to speak.
I know. I'm it's very obvious. It's obvious. It is obvious. However, I also think, obviously being the non, the other guy in the chat.
That's all right.
It is. I feel like, given the current climate and everything like that, I feel like James should be or would be the person to be the face of Chelsea.
I agree.
Does that not? I
agree.
And also, given the rumors with James and everything like that, with allegedly and all this sort of stuff, like, all right, let's just skip that. But also with the obvious stuff as well. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like people said he's like this and that and everything else.
No,
I'll say this off camera, but like I've seen some people say allegedly. Yeah. I'm not piling onto that at all, but I'm just saying like there's so many things about Reece James. Like he's such a good guy. Like there's so many characteristics of Reece James that would make him the face, whereas Mount is so bland. I don't understand how he's like suddenly been like this. The face of Chelsea Football Club. I just don't understand that. Like it's like it's very forced. Whereas with James, it's so natural. He's such a likable guy, if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna hold on real quick. Kai, I'm gonna let you on. Just understand. I think Harry is being very reasonable here. And I don't think he's as a deluded Mount stan like everyone else. No, he's actually not. He's not deluded Mount stan like everyone else everyone else you interact with on Twitter. So let's not get it mixed up. But Kai, come on in, man. How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. How's everybody? I'm good, man.
Brother.
I'm good.
Oh God, I'm about to get killed right now.
First of all, Harry.
No. It's just it's Twitter. It's Twitter. It's the Twitter pollution.
The reason
got him, radioactive.
The reason why I don't like the player of the year argument, like he's a 2-time player of the year, blah blah blah. That is a useless award. The reason it's a useless award because it's given by fans. Willian won it, and Willian is arguably one of the worst players we had at Chelsea in the Mourinho and the Conte era. Kovacic won it when he was half of the season he was injured. That is literally given by a poll. That doesn't judge a player's ability. It judges popularity, and that's why Mount won it. That's all that it is. You can't tell me last season he wasn't our best player. He wasn't even the best player in GNA. Literally, both Lukaku and Havertz scored more goals than him. So what exactly was he the best at last season? What, scoring against Norwich and Leeds? And two managers who he've been the face of the club with finished 9th and 8th respectively, and both been sacked because he's the face of the club. People tell me he's the face of the club. That's fine, but he's the face of a club, of a Chelsea that it's been without a Premier League title or even challenging for it for the last 5 or 6 years. Since he's been here, we haven't been a Premier League even challengers, and I'm not even talking about winners, because winners, I don't see us even challenging for the next 2 or 3 years.
I get scared that we're going to lose every single game when we play.
Yeah, but so why?
I've never felt that in my entire life.
Yeah, Harry, I get that, but why are you defending this guy and saying like, oh yeah, if we lose him to Liverpool, he'll be? I've seen even like De Bruyne and Salah. Yeah, when you saw flashes of them respectfully in Basel and in Roma for Salah, and in Wolfsburg and at Chelsea for De Bruyne, you could see these players had these technical abilities, and one day they will make it there. But when I look at Mount and I see him 4 or 5 seconds for him to make a pass in the final third, I'm sorry, I don't think that's an elite footballer. Yeah, he can run, he has energy. So why is he so valuable not to get rid of? Because I think Chelsea would play a lot better if he wasn't part of this team. Him and Havertz is the biggest issues at this club for me.
My point purely was based on the pain of history in the fact of the two players that you mentioned in Salah and De Bruyne.
Yep.
And they were players that went on to do great things when we didn't know how good they were. But allegedly, we are made to believe that Mount is this almighty player, and he's won 2 player of the seasons at Chelsea. I'm not for 1 second saying rightfully
nobody
so.
believes that, Harry.
I don't agree.
You're the one who used that argument.
No.
Nobody used that argument.
No, he wasn't using the argument.
No,
I just think it's misunderstanding.
I explicitly said that I did not agree that. I said, if you go back in this stream, I said he was the best of a bad bunch.
But I don't think he was the best. I honestly don't think he was the best last season.
I'm just saying, like, that's probably why he was given it. I'm not saying me personally saying that he was, and I'm not backtracking when I say that. But like, my if you let me say, like, my worry with Mount is if he went to a direct rival in Liverpool. We've already seen what De Bruyne and Salah have gone on to do, and we didn't know how good they were. And there are countless people. And I'm just assuming from my mind that I'm blind to this, but because I've seen so many articles defending Mount, and it's not just from English media and all this sort of stuff. It's majority English media, granted, but a lot of it is. But a lot of people are also saying, like, people are sleeping and they don't realize how good Mount is and all this sort of stuff. And my point going back to those, to me, again, just to say to you, irrelevant. And unwarranted 2 year in a row Player of the Year awards for Chelsea.
Yeah.
If he's won those 2 when De Bruyne and Salah won fuck all for us,
but they haven't.
And then he goes. No, but I'm saying, do you get what I mean though? I'm surely the other 2 of you understand.
I will argue with this.
De Bruyne and Salah did fuck all for Chelsea and then went on to be greats.
But I will argue that point.
Salah's Mount has won 2 awards for us, rightfully or wrongfully, you know. And he's touted to be really good. And although no one really sees it for the most part, if we let him go to a direct rival, I'm scared. That's all I'm saying. I just feel like he's going to end up being like an unbelievable player. Although we don't see it now, I feel like I'm a bit worried.
I don't think we will ever see it, because I've seen like. For me, the Foden versus Mount argument, for me, it's finished in the World Cup. We've seen what Mount is a constant player for the English national team, and the level that Foden brought when he replaced him in that team is night and day. That England team looks sloppy, just like we do at Chelsea. If there's a lot of similarities in England, the way England played when they had Mount in their team, and the way that Chelsea is. They didn't know what they're going to do in transition. They're getting caught on the counter-attack, and they were very, very, very slow on the passing. I see that, and a lot of people don't see it. But the reality is, both Salah and Kevin De Bruyne came into a Chelsea that they barely played in because that team was already almost complete as far as the talent in every position. So they couldn't really do things. Salah came to, I think, one of the if not the best team we had in the last 10 years. That 2014-2015 team, no way anybody can break into that. Mount wouldn't even be a water ball in that team. Therefore, he didn't play. Mount kind of thrived on the fact that we had a transfer ban and we stayed in, and he's English. Let's be honest. If he wasn't English, he wouldn't have stayed in this team for as long as he has, because he's very popular in the fan base. Therefore, he plays. But the reality of the matter is, and why my issue with him remains that he needs to be replaced or become a more of a bench option, is the fact that we haven't challenged since he's been here, and a lot of the if you look at the way that we play, a lot of the time, the reason we are so lethargic, the way we're so bad on the ball, is because of him and Kai Havertz. We changed every bit of the equilibrium in this club. Yeah, we changed every player, but the thing that they still remain is these two guys starting for us week in and week out, and it shows. We've been 9th under Lampard, and we've been 8th now, with Potter. So something has to be changed, and the biggest thing somebody can do wrong is if they become complacent. If we're in our comfort zone, we're like, oh, what happened if we're gonna lose this? If we're gonna lose this? But the reality is, we're in a very bad place at the club, and we need to start taking risks with our 11, or we will stay in his. Because if we keep being comfortable, that's not a good place that we want to be at Chelsea. Because I'm sure all of us here grew up on Chelsea winning things. But if we accept this mediocrity, we're never going to move on. If we say, oh, what if we lose this? Okay, what if we do sell Mount and we get a player who's 2 or 3 times better for this team creativity-wise? I think it would be much better. If he goes to Liverpool, he's not going to be for Liverpool, he's going to be for us. He's not going to be a creator or somebody he's going to be somebody like a better Milner, Yeah, exactly. That's what he's going to be his role. But at Chelsea, he doesn't fit in. And the reason he is shoved down our throats because it's a popularity contest and the fans like him. But the reality is we're 8th, and before him we were 9th. Literally, in the last 3 years, we were 8th and 9th, and we finished 4th. That's it. So something has to give. We need to change something in order for us to become Chelsea again. Because right now, we're not Chelsea. We're only Chelsea by the badge, man.
But we could do better than selling our alleged best player to our.
But he's not
direct.
Alleged.
Whether you
Harry,
believe that or not. No. Whether you believe it or not, he has genuinely, rightly or wrongly, got best player of the year the last 2 years.
You think
running.
we can win the league with him in the team? And be honest.
I think we could, and I'm not a Mason Mount
rotational. As a rotational.
No way.
For sure.
In the squad,
if you don't think, if you don't think you could see Mason in a Premier League winning side,
no way.
That's questionable.
No way. He is way not.
Do you mean not even on the bench, Kai? He has to be.
How can he be a Premier League?
Fucking hell.
Guys,
I don't want to turn into Johnny, but Jesus Christ.
No, but
he's not that fucking bad. Jesus
you have
Christ.
that mentality though, because you're saying that we're gonna win the league with him when he averages a goal every 7
allegedly.
games.
All right, Ahmed is that okay? Anyway, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, how can we win the league with somebody who averages a goal or an assist every 7 games? It's impossible to win the league with this kind of guy.
He should not play attack.
To be fair, man. To be fair to both, I think both of you have very, very good points, and I think to go on what Harry's fear is about these players, I have to ask you though, Harry. I mean, look, whether Mount, you guys already know my position on Mount. Whether he stays or go, I could care less. But don't you think that if Mount were to go, right? It's not like when Salah left. It's not like when KDB left. It's not like we stopped winning. It's not like we were near relegation. We still ended up winning a Champions League, not a Champions League, I'm sorry, a Premier League under Conte. We still ended up winning a Champions League under Tuchel, and Mourinho as well. So we still have, and especially now the way we're building for the future, there is talent there. I think I get where you're coming from, Harry, because I would love to have a KDB right now in this team. I would love to have someone like Salah in the team too. I mean, I'm happy we kept Hazard.
Devil's advocate, by the way. If that is,
yeah. I understand. And again,
I can appreciate
you're not a Mount fan, yeah.
I'm not. By no means am I like an explicit Mount fan. I'm not a Johnny. I'm not a know. However, I'm not a blatant he's shit. Like he's not shit.
But I'm not saying he's shit. I'm not saying he's shit. I'm just my point is, I don't think anybody in this team is
He will win a Premier League
particularly...
title in his life.
He will not win a
Chelsea
Premier
or
League.
not.
He won't.
He will win a Premier League title. He will.
won't.
100%.
I think that's where
Not
you
as
guys
a starter.
disagree.
I don't think he will ever win a Premier League title.
I don't think it will be with Chelsea.
not that type
but
of player.
he will win with
With
someone.
Liverpool?
No way. No way. I think if he leaves...
Wherever he goes, I think he will.
I can't
he
see
will
him going
win-
to
he will
City.
win.
Right, City, what is he going to do? He doesn't have the technical ability to play for City, man. What is he going to do there?
I
No,
can
let's
see
be
him
honest.
maybe at Liverpool because he actually does suit Liverpool more than us.
Yeah, the running and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Harry. You're a nice guy, but no way Mount wins the Premier League for any team, man. I think as far as
No,
technical
he
ability,
doesn't win it for them, but I reckon he's involved in.
He's part of the team. He's part of the
Yeah.
squad.
No, I think
But
I
even
don't.
you disagree on that
I'm not.
guy.
I'm not for one second saying he's influential in being the
Yeah.
star player. I'm not saying he's going to be a star player. I do think he will win a Premier League title in his career,
As a starter.
whether
Is that
it's
what you're
at
saying?
Chelsea.
Not
I
as a
think he'll be.
starter.
I think he'll be in the team, but.
Yeah, but that's why we and me and Marshall are disagree.
If you go on his
Harry thinks he can
Wikipedia,
win
at the
it.
end of his career, he will have a Premier League title. That's what.
I agree with
I
Harry
don't
on this.
disagree,
I think.
I
Look,
don't-
I think he's good enough to be in a team that will win it. If that,
Listen.
I
if that
honestly
makes
don't.
sense.
I think he's extremely inconsistent. Even like his career shows it. He averages, okay, since he's been here,
I
he
never thought
averages
I'd
a
be
goal or
defending
an
Mount
assist
this
every
much.
7 games. Every 7 games. To average a seven, like every 7 games, a goal and an assist is extremely inconsistent for a football player.
I
Extremely
Welcome to my life,
completely
Harry. I had to
fucking
do this too.
I completely agree.
So where is he
I-
gonna win the Premier League from? What is it gonna get?
No,
to
no,
the player
I'm
of the year?
saying-
They're gonna be a vote, man.
I'm
That's not how it
saying
works.
he is not. He's not a consistent player. I totally agree. I because I do the watch alongs to Chelsea Fan TV. I was doing it for the first 8 games when he did fuck all. For
Well,
Chelsea.
everybody loves him, man.
I had him as the focus player, and I had like a full graphic, and his 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 big chances created, and all that sort of stuff. I'm very much someone who is very critical of Mason Mount. However, I stand by my statement in saying that he will be someone who has a Premier League winners medal. I do think he will have that at some point, whether or not he's like a big player in the running of it. He might be like someone who comes on as like a super sub or whatever. But I do think he will have a Premier League medal in his career for sure.
You know why I struggle to agree with you, Harry? Because people told me that like when Lampard came in, and the last 3 years I haven't seen Mount improve at anything that he does. Maybe his numbers, but the majority of his numbers came from Leeds and Norwich, and I'm not impressed. Both of those
100%, 100%.
barely survived. So my point is, for me, as a Chelsea fan, right? Like I'm not English, obviously you can tell from my accent. I have no affiliation.
I thought you was.
I've started supporting Chelsea way before Mount supported Portsmouth, right? Like I'm 29 years old. And I've seen Chelsea teams, like really good Chelsea teams. I've started watching Chelsea since 2003 when I was 9 years old, right? I love Chelsea. But for me, the Mount era is the worst. The Mount and Kai Havertz era is the worst period.
It's up
Chelsea
there.
history.
It's getting up there.
I wouldn't say it's the worst.
It is the worst. Because you know why I say it's the worst? Because that team that finished 11th still won the Premier League the year after. This team has been, I think we've been the longest since we won the Premier League now. 7 years now? It's the longest since we won the Premier League.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Hey,
And
but
that's
we won-
why I
we
say
won
it is
Champions League,
the worst team.
To-
And the
to
thing
be
is,
fair to-
they won the Champions League, Chris, but so did Origi with Liverpool, and now he's somewhere in Turkey, bro. That's why I say it. We won the Champions League because our defense was the best. If you look at our goals and assists, we literally were the lowest scoring teams in Champions League history to win it. And for me, that's horrible.
Also had
man.
one of the best defensive records, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we did have a
It
goal.
had to be. We didn't score
Yeah,
many
because
goals.
There's
Man.
no way. Yeah, our highest goal scorer scored 3, man. So like what? Havertz, I think.
to be fair to like what Kai's saying, like I mean, I don't know if it's.
I do agree.
I don't know if it's the worst, but it's
I
up
think
there.
it's the
And you know what adds to it? Social media. Social media
And I say in my
definitely has
time,
a
in
huge factor
my
on it.
lifetime. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Chelsea. In,
Yeah,
1998
obviously.
or
But Kai,
1990.
you say you've been a fan since 2003, right? And I'm not, just to preface, I'm not going to question your allegiance or anything like that.
Yeah,
But my question isn't about that. It is essentially what's just been mentioned is that when we were younger, social media wasn't a part where you'd see like GA or like all this bullshit of like every opinion you've ever had of a player was based on your opinion as a kid or as a teenager or anything like that. And we were led to dream of like so-and-so player could be great or whatever. Or if you bought a magazine, I never bought a magazine about football.
Even Andrew agrees. Andrew never agrees with me. Into it. But Andrew never agrees with me, and he agrees with me now. And Harry, I'm not only pinning this on Mount. I think the fact is...
I know. And again, I want to... I'm not as much as it sounds I'm a massive Mount fan.
I know.
I really am not. I'm going to help you out, I'm playing devil's advocate. I really am.
There you go.
But
there you go.
See, my issue with I don't judge it based on social media, based on stats. I judge it based on the fact of the trophies that we won. Yes, we won the Champions League, but I think a lot of things in the Champions League, we kind of overlooked them. Like the way we weren't really consistent. There were
deficiencies in the club.
We were very good defensively, but offensively we're really bad. And plus, a lot of even Emerson scored against Atletico Madrid to win it. Like the team was pumped to win the league.
He scored a second, yeah.
And but even when you lose context, use context with it, right? Sorry, I'm a bit tipsy. Yeah. Even when you use a little bit of context in it with it, that whole Premier League campaign, we were dog shit, man. We literally finished top 4 because Spurs fucked up.
And Bale saved us.
Yeah, and it kills me because I remember those teams with Mourinho were like, oh shit, we're gonna play Chelsea 85 fucking matches at Stamford Bridge in a row. We were undefeated, and now I see fans celebrating us signing kids on social media, man. It kills me, man. Honestly, it kills me because Chelsea was the place. Mikel literally said, "Fuck off" to United because he wanted to come to Chelsea and win titles with us, man. So it is the worst period for me, man. And it's not only Mount. I think it's a lot of these players are extremely overhyped, and they need to fuck off respectfully, yeah.
And I get where Kai's coming. I get where Harry's coming from.
Who's that? Fuck off.
That's Mason Mount.
It's life size too, man. It's life size.
There you go.
He's a Mason Mount fan.
Life size, he says.
I've got a poster of him on my wall. I got a calendar. I got 2023 calendar, but still.
Is the next picture of Mason Mount? Is the next picture of Mason Mount? If it is, then we'll got some questions.
It's the calendar, but
it's a full length size on it as well.
but to Harry's point earlier, and I think this is where I mean this is where part of this agreement comes in, right? I think a player like Mount is could develop to be a player like a Milner in his prime or a Henderson in his prime.
He's better than Milner, man. Come on.
Milner was a good player, Carl.
Milner was a good player.
Milner's won everything. He's won every single thing.
Prime.
You can't say he's better than...
No. But Milner won everything.
Yeah, but he's still a good player.
So now you understand what I'm saying, yes. And Mount can be a part of a side that could win everything as well, much like Milner. Milner's won everything in a side that's won everything.
But I will explain my point, what I meant.
But Mount can't.
Yeah.
No, he can, but Milner didn't start every.
Mount has the minerals to get into any side.
He won by association. He was at a very good City team, and then he moved to Liverpool. It's not like he literally was there to lift the trophies.
No,
he's literally our Luke Remy, man.
But that's also I think that's also what Harry's saying. That I think in Mason Mount's time he will win a Prem because he'll be part of a squad. I don't think he'll be a starter per se. I mean, he will start games. Obviously, he's not going to be an out star, the face of a team. Yeah, a rotation player. Unlike how he's been played at Chelsea.
I will also say this. Yeah. He will never be, and Johnny has said this many a time. For some reason, he seems to think that he is the next, like the heir to the throne for captaincy, which is just not the fucking case at all.
I think he's going to be the best
has Mount ever shown any captaincy sort of? Yeah, when there's fights and stuff, he might, get all big bollocks and all that.
His nose is too big, man. He doesn't have balance, man.
It's James.
It's James, man.
James is future captain. Everyone knows it. Everyone said it.
People should look at him when he's like younger days and Wigan as well. He led Wigan really well. So
he actually plays for midfielder for Wigan as well.
As a captain, pretty much. I think he's like
Man, Reece James is literally the best thing that Lampard brought us, man. I fucking love that guy. He's such a fucking talented player, man. Like, it's crazy how good he reminds me a lot of. He reminds me a lot of Ashley Cole. How Ashley Cole used to play. He's fucking aggressive on the ball. He's good with it. He has pace.
He's Ashley Cole, but 2 times as big as well.
He has a right back. Yeah, he's Ashley Cole after a meal, bro. That's what he is, man. Like, he's very good, man.
True.
And I love Ashley Cole as well. So for me, he's a right back Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole, if he doubled up on the protein, man. Jesus.
He did, man. You guys talk about Vivel as well. Vivel is like, fuck, I'm a big fan.
I'm saving that. I'm saving that for Sunday. So Kyle, I'll send you the link for that show on Sunday. We'll talk about him. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the stream. This is fantastic.
Sunday?
Big up to.
Are you doing a show on Christmas Day?
We're playing Sunday.
I think I'm gonna.
Wait, it's Christmas Sunday?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Christmas
I think I might do a Christmas. Yeah.
We're playing on Tuesday.
You know what?
We're playing next Tuesday.
Oh, it's kind of late. It is kind of
might
late.
Which kind of cunt made us play on Tuesday, man? I hate this fucking dude, man. What's wrong with him, bro?
Look, I had to take off for work for that one, man. It's just like,
Yeah,
I
what
can't
is it?
listen.
Tuesday? Why? Why are we not on like Boxing Day, man?
True. It's English,
I know, I
English
love
time,
Boxing
it's
Day
English time.
True. He also gave us silver, by the way, Kai. That's true. But listen,
he didn't really
I think
do
we're gonna do a
decisive
stream
enough.
on Sunday. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but I think it might happen. But keep posted. I know the Casually FC, the Casually Chelsea shows.
I'm gonna be passed out on
Sundays, so.
eggnogs, bro, on Christmas.
Maybe,
sounds
Surfer.
fine.
We'll see. But
I'm fairly
ladies and
sure.
gents,
But England have
Go ahead.
like an extra day off
Mm-hmm.
because Christmas for us is on the weekends. So we
Yeah,
have
but isn't
our, like,
Boxing Day
But
on Saturday and Sunday, no?
But Boxing Day is an obligatory. Like it's always a bank holiday or like a day off anyway.
Yeah.
So then the day off, 27th, we'll have the day off anyway as well.
So why are we not playing on it though? Why are we not playing on
Because
Boxing Day?
Kai just wants to play on the 27th, man.
I mean, Boxing Day it's yeah, but so in England, like, we'll have the 27th off like in general anyway, because we didn't so
I have time off
basically
anyway. Yeah.
Christmas Day we always get off, but if it's on a weekend we get that day extra if it like in a weekday. So then Boxing Day was also on a Monday, which means the 27th we'll have off anyway. So that's why it's on a Tuesday, because it's the 27th, and everyone in England has the day off anyway. So that's
It's
why
weird though,
it is.
because Boxing Day is on the 26th, and every year we play on the 20, like on Boxing Day. Why are this time they played us with the weirdos like Brighton and all this?
Because Christmas is on a weekend, so we get the extra day off on the 27th.
Okay.
because we're on TV apparently.
And we're on TV.
Who knows?
And it's 5. I was saying we have to have a day off on the 27th because it's at 5:30 and everyone's working still then, so we must still have the day off.
Yeah, I don't work anymore.
There is no way there's a Premier League game.
Sucks
at
to you, B.
5:30 if
Marshall.
we're still working.
Yeah, it does. But I took the day off and
It's
it's
like 10
paid,
a.m.
so I'll be
there for you,
okay.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's gonna be a 12 o'clock game, 12:30 game for me. It's,
What is? Oh,
5 for
yeah,
us.
yeah,
no?
yeah.
5 for us, no?
6 something
Yeah.
for you, Kai.
yeah. So yeah,
No,
it's gonna
it's
be an
5 for me,
afternoon
man.
game for me.
I thought you were an hour ahead of us.
I am.
It starts 5:30 for
There
the
would be
UK.
4 for you guys.
It would
I
be
think, no?
6. It would be 6 for you.
6:30.
Kai is an hour behind. He's in the past, so
so he's
he'll
6.
come back to the
he's
present.
ahead of
Pass, man. Still living in the Jesus days, man.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, boys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Make sure you smash the like buttons, hit the bell notification, don't miss our future streams. We'll keep you notified on what we're going to be doing this week in accordance to streams and all that stuff. We might have some extra content for you guys tomorrow, Friday, who knows. But ladies and gents, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. Big up to Harry. Make sure you check out his channel in the description below. Big up to Kai. Big up to Chris. Big up to Ahmed who came on, and big up to you guys in the chat for participating as well. Up to Chelsea. Down with the minerals. Stay casual. Peace.